That era is now coming to an end. The author's insight is that we shouldn't be looking at inflation as one big number. There are two separate inflation dynamics running at the same time. The first is a domestic services curve. Your hairdresser, your plumber, your lawyer, the people who have to physically be where you are, their prices are driven by your local labor market. When workers are scarce, those prices go up. That relationship never broke down. The second is a goods curve, and for the last 30 years, this one was essentially made in China. When you offshore most of your manufacturing to a country where labor is cheaper, the price of physical goods falls relentlessly. And that goods deflation was so powerful that it masked the fact that services inflation, the domestic part, was ticking along quite normally the whole time. What this meant in practice was that central banks in the US and Europe were essentially outsourcing their inflation targets to Chinese factories. Politicians got to enjoy solid economic growth with low borrowing costs. Workers in the services sector got steady pay rises, and nobody had to make any difficult decisions because cheap televisions and cheap clothing from China were pulling the average down. The workers who lost those factory jobs didn't vanish. Most of them ended up in the services sector, which is one of the reasons services inflation never actually went away. But that era is now coming to an end. The world's population is aging rapidly, and the global labor force is beginning to shrink.